Good, hello. Thanks for watching another random palm reading. In this reading, I will be looking at a person's future success, their potential to travel, their love life, and their finances. But I'm going to be looking at luck as a key theme in this person's palms because their date of birth corresponds to the number 10 quite closely. 10 is the Wheel of Fortune in Tarot, the 10th card of the major arcana. And luck plays a key theme in this person's life. As well as that, I'm going to be looking at previous events, previous mistakes, and how a person is shaped by these. I find this person's palm absolutely fascinating because what I have here is a clear picture of the left and right hands. And you can see here that, first of all, this person is a very sort of practical but also analytical person. They are an air hand, to put it quite simply, but to be more specific than that, they are practical as well as analytical and quite pragmatic. There's a bit of a contradiction in this sort of character makeup. Um, they are, very hardworking and loyal. They're very good with their hands. There's a lot of skills here with their hands, but there's keen angle of proficiency here. But they're also very good with their head as well. They're probably equally as good, which creates a bit of a unique kind of blend of traits within a person. Take a good look at the fingers here. On the left hand, Jupiter sits almost high enough, showing it's bending as well towards Saturn. This person's um, conscience, their sense of right and wrong and what it is they should be doing in life is in some way overpowering their sense of self. There's an overwhelming, well, maybe not overwhelming, but there's certainly a sense of what it is that they should and need to be doing. On the right hand, Jupiter is much shorter, and again, it's sort of curved inwards. There's certainly pressure from the outside um, pushing this person towards doing a certain thing. There are strong familial influences, as seen by the influence lines here rising from the family ring. The family ring is it's broken. I mean, it's not well formed. There are certainly struggles within the family dynamic. This person's father likely wasn't very present when they were young. Maybe they had to work. Maybe they couldn't be present. But emotionally speaking as well, I think this person could well have benefited more from having a strong father figure around when they were young. Also notice how the Mercury finger is very low set on the right hand, whereas on the left, the kind of bridge here that where the fingers grow and develop out the hand is it's well developed. The fingers are all splaying outwards, um, for the purpose of the picture, I'm sure. But on the right hand, they're not as able to do this. The little finger is, somewhat stunted, and that's because it's lower set. And this shows a strong and impactful traumatic emotional event in this person's life. And I believe that there may have been moments, decisions made out of anger when they were young. I don't believe this person to be, um, I wouldn't say that they have a temper as such, looking at the thumb and the way that this is developed. We've got some wasting of the second phalanx. It's also long, it's longer than the will. So I believe actually this person has quite a leavened approach to the way in which they manage their temper. There are certainly, um, potential for an argumentative and critical nature. There are still there's still the potential here for outbursts, shall we say? But I wouldn't put this person down as someone who is of an aggressive or even violent temperament. But there have been decisions made out of anger, and you can see that because of the way the headline actually comes from Inner Mars. It stems into it here as well, and both of these lines here form a square with a cross inside it. This is isolation from society. It's either hospitalization, imprisonment, or in some way this person wasn't able to coexist in society from this time, from being a teen right up to, I would say, 21, 22 perhaps. The cross inside it is not a good sign. There's an obstacle, a barrier, um, a negative, obstructive event here, and it could be they were attacked when they were in prison, or it could be that there was an operation in a hospital that went wrong and they were physically affected, permanently damaged. From that time afterwards, I would put this more down to prison and being attacked in prison, and how this has shaped them psychologically is denoted here and here. I think that it has damaged their sense of self, their confidence, their ability to let their guard down as well. They're a bit more closed off now, and you can see that in the way that the headline and the heart line is closed off. It's on the right hand. It's there's a narrower gap between the two on the right hand, whereas inherently, they were a much more sort of level-headed. There's certainly a strength of mental fortitude about this person. There's a strong sense of resilience and endurance, and I think this person has sort of developed that. But there is, the straightness, thanks to the straightness of the headline, they're actually very able to take on quite a lot of pressure. They're actually very strong, mentally speaking. However, the headline on the right hand dips very low down into lunar, and it shows that this person has potentially become depressed. They are having unrealistic thoughts, dark thoughts potentially, and it shows that the mental health of this person has been affected by the events that they've gone through. On the left hand, I can see here distinctive square on the inside of the lifeline. Again, this is on the left hand, it's more a fear of isolation. It's more a fear of imprisonment or hospitalization. It's a fear of being restricted from living the life that they want to. Perhaps here there is a goal or an ambition, a dream that they want to achieve, but they're not able to because of familial commitments. Could be that they have a certain idea, a choice which they are unable to carry out because of their own feelings about themselves. I find it interesting that there is a Mars line that develops out, from this feeling, the need to fight and persevere. Perseverance is quite a strong trait within this person. Notice that outer Mars here, you can see just how outer Mars here, I mean, lunar as well, is quite well developed. The need to escape, the need to persevere, push onwards, and move outside, to have that endurance and resistance as well, to endure and to get through these difficult times. This person would probably make a pretty good actor. I say that because of the fate line and the general direction of it, where it's coming from, and the headline as well, the way it forks. They're very able to see things from more than one perspective, particularly on the left hand. That's a healthy fork. They wish to have a life that is involving more people around them there, and that is the desire to travel as well. It's a funny one because I don't see that distinctive and clear escape line, which you quite commonly see on people who have that desire to travel and see the world and experience what it has to give and offer. I don't see that. I see the lifeline reaching and veering right over into Luna. Means this person will certainly travel, they will move. There's a physical need to change their environment and the way in which they're living their life, as opposed to travel itself. When people say, "Will I travel? Will I move abroad?" It's because they want a change in their life. It's because they want to experience new things. Sometimes there's a general overall need to overhaul the entire way in which they're living their life. There's a potential threat to the way in which they're living their life. And if they're not changing that, moving and changing things outside of their norm, then they're going to, in some way, fall, they're going to become restricted. That's the fear here I see in the left hand. And their feeling about the way in which their life is going to go one of two ways. That is quite literally how they're feeling about things at the moment. You can see here this awful incident that occurred when they were younger. Again, I mentioned the age of 16 or so, 16 up to sort of 20, 21, and that's what this represents here on the fate line. You can see the lifeline and the headline are joined up until, the age of sort of 21 or so, whereas on the right hand, the head and the lifeline begin to separate at an earlier time. This person had to be independent sooner. They had to fight for themselves, quite literally, sooner. And again, that kind of draws me back to conclude more accurately that this person was imprisoned at a young age due to a poor decision they made, likely out of anger, impatience, the need for the here and now. I think the overall feeling this person has is that they were potentially neglected when they were young in some way. They didn't have what was needed. They didn't have what others had their age in some way. And I say that because of the wasting of the middle phalanges of all of the fingers. Often as well, that's a sign of someone with many brothers and sisters. If we have a lot of siblings, how can our parents be there for us all? This potential, you know, damage that they received when they were on the inside, so to speak, wherever and however this took place, this isolation from society, may well have some bearing on the almost cross star formation. In fact, seen at the end of this forking headline. This could be a blow to the head. The box seen within the box could actually be hospitalization whilst they were incarcerated. In any case, who we are when we were young is not who we are when we are older. We change, we grow and develop. And I can see that this person, out of after this experience, you can quite literally see they have had this kind of epiphany, this change of attitude, of heart. You can see here this rising um, ambition line here. They're going to make a difference, a change to their lives. They're not going to live in the same way. They're going to make sure that this, whatever it is, never happens again. If you look at the right hand here, you can see this ambition line. When they become isolated from society, you can see this ambition line grow and develop and throw its way right out up into Saturn. They develop the self, they learn, they change their perspective of the world and themselves, and they grow the skills necessary to um, contribute towards the society and essentially to have a career. There may well have been an opportunity that arose outside of or inside of this isolation. They decided that they were going to make something of themselves throughout this time, and in fact, it it's a really positive sign. But the stress seen after this time is quite immense, and there's still, such strong influences. There's support here from the family, but there's also this disruption, particularly disruptive. It's very hard for me to interpret exactly what this means. I see here an influence coming from this not incredibly well formed family unit. You can literally trace the roots back um, from this influence that cuts the lifeline um, that blocks it with an island. This is a very difficult time, a struggle. There's a decision that's made here, not a decision. There's a need here to make money, and it's related to the family. Perhaps this person had to take on, um, that breadwinning for the family at the age of, I would say, 25. And you can see it directly affecting the career lines, both of the fate lines, in fact, and it creates an obstacle. This person's doing twice the work. You can see at the age of 25 on the lifeline that there's a need to sort of double. efforts. This influence line rises over to and touches the headline where it flicks upwards towards outer Mars, this place of I need to make money, I need to think about the future, I need to secure, I need to be practical, I need to save money, and I'm thinking of all the ways I can to make the most out of my assets, materials, finances. Look at as well how tightly wound together the fingers are on the right hand compared to the left. There's a greater space on the left hand than there is on the right. This person's stuck in a rut at the moment. They're backed into a corner. So from this age of, 25 or so, right up to where they are now, 10-year period, they've had to really put all their efforts into making money. And unfortunately, they've not really been able to live their lives. It's almost like they're making up for lost time. There's certainly connection here, an incident involving the family and money and the need to make money, an event here, an occurrence around about the age of, I mean, on the lifeline it shows 35, but on the fate line it shows 25, and we've got corroborating evidence here on the lifeline as well. However, at this particular moment in time, where the fate line meets, the headline is the age of 35, classically, generally speaking, for most people. And we see a secondary fate line derived out of the headline after this time, as well as, coming from this need to make money. So I think where they're at right now, particularly now more than ever, shows a need to make money. And whatever it is that they're doing right now isn't really working for them. At least they're putting in a lot of effort, but they're not getting the reward they deserve. However, I do want to say here that things will get better, things will work, things will improve, and the sense of satisfaction, the sense of reward from those efforts being put in will start coming because this line is getting stronger. I want you to keep an eye on this because I think it's going to improve over time. And the reasons why we don't see a fate line after 53, or at least there's a scarcity of it until much later in life, is because the road ahead is very uncertain. And that is because there is going to be long distance travel. And wherever we see that, the lifeline appears to kind of break. That's because there's risk involved when it comes to travel. That's because we're changing things up so much that we are the future is so uncertain. If we're completely moving, we're moving abroad, foreign settlement, then we're going to change our job roles. Then the future of our income is completely uncertain. And this occurs for this person, I would say, very soon in their lives. This travel, I'm not getting this decisive moment of travel, one key event that leads them to live a new life, so to speak. I don't see that. What I see is that long distance travel becomes a part of their life. I have once seen a square on the inside of the lifeline that represented a person working on cruise ships. It might well be that this person's life, their career, is involving travel in some way. Travel becomes their life. Their lifeline swings outwards towards Luna. Their life quite literally becomes travel itself. The continuation of the lifeline can be seen just underneath the Venus Mount. So don't be confused here. It's not as though this person's life is, cut short or the potential for longevity isn't there. It's not that. It's not the case at all. Um, and the length of the lifeline doesn't really equate to a person's the length of their life, but you can see here the potential for this person returning to their native homeland in later age anyway. That's what this is showing. So as I say, I think this person's life becomes travel. Their career is involving travel. And that's a fascinating one, isn't it? Because travel really presents us with a great many opportunities. It's who you know, after all, and you meet a lot of people when you travel the world. And luck plays a big part in how our lives are affected when we travel. Things are going to significantly improve, especially from the age of, I would say, about 40 onwards. Things are really going to improve. However, at the age of around about 49, 50, maybe early 50s, maybe something like 51, be very careful because there will be some temptation here, and this could affect things. Analytical hands always have this desire to experience what the grass is like on the other side of the fence. And and the same is true in other areas as well, in other aspects of life as well. There's a very practical element to this person, a very um, loyal and dependable, reliable element to this person. However, there is a sense that this person could be tempted and swayed at the age of around about 51. So it's really important this person stays true, sticks to the straight and narrow, and all that glitters is not gold. If it's too good to be true, if it feels that way, then it probably is. An opportunity might present itself at the age of 51. It's extremely important that you consider working at, the don't look at any kind of get rich quick scheme. It's not going to work. Don't be tempted by another. It's really important that you stick to working hard, and that will pay off. That road will pay off. If you are tempted at this time, it will almost certainly go wrong in terms of love life. I see two loves, and the greater is later. And that is, I mean, it's very difficult to kind of put this down into an age, but I would say probably 40 onwards. Certainly the potential for marriage. And I believe that is again because of the opportunities, because of those this person meets when this person really starts to get out there into the bigger, wider, open world. Their lifeline, it increases the size of the Venus mount, um, their capacity for enjoying life, desire, and the realms of the familiar increase. Desire in general is actually something that I have been noticing within this person's palms, and it's extremely important that they understand this about themselves, that this is a potential flaw, that they look to abstain from certain desires that might get them into trouble, that might take away focus and energy from um, committing and fulfillment to the overall uh, achievement of success and happiness, because this person has those opportunities ahead of them. As long as they don't become tempted or swayed and don't succumb to those baser desires. Money is important, but it's a tool. The first wealth is certainly health, and our mental health is included in that. The sense of achievement and our sense of understanding of ourselves can really help sort of empower um, and really help us in terms of where we go and the decisions we make in future. Sex too, it's great in the short term. It's very satisfying in the moment. But if we are guided and to come to those baser desires, then we can sometimes fall into certain traps, certain uh, cycles, psychological cycles. We can spiral, and at times we can lose essentially sight of ourselves. Sometimes when we feel a certain lack of adequacy about ourselves, our achievements, where we've come from, who we are, when we compare ourselves to others, it can press down on us. We can do it to ourselves. I think we can damage our own psyche, our own sense of self, our own ego, and we can compensate for that by these coping mechanisms that are sometimes otherwise they're not healthy. And the best coping mechanism for dealing with a sense of inadequacy is rather than these immediately sort of gratifying, physically sort of baser sort of satisfying goals like drinking, sex, um, drugs, or gambling even. The best way is to focus on the self, to learn more about the self, to gain greater self-understanding, self-under awareness, to improve the self. The key to success with this person is, in fact, understanding how the past has affected them psychologically and emotionally. The crippling of um, this person's confidence because of what they've been through. There certainly is the possibility for this person to grow and develop, to heal, because that's what's needed here. Um, and that's only going to happen when this person understands truly what they've been through, processes it, and begins to heal, and allow themselves to to acknowledge that what they have been through, most people wouldn't have coped in the same way they did, wouldn't have been able to. I think this person needs to give themselves more credit to really recognize the skill set that they have, the traits that they have. This person has a tremendous strength, resilience, stamina that most people don't have. This person has a tremendous blend of both analytical and physical skills, which most people don't have. And the opportunities that this person is able to find themselves in, uh, most people won't be able to create those set of circumstances. This person will feel a great sense of benefit, of achievement, of satisfaction from giving back to others as well. And in doing that, this person will learn more about themselves and gain more confidence, gain a greater sense of achievement, and also quash this sense of inadequacy that they feel about themselves. In some sense, this person is their own worst enemy because of their own feelings about themselves. As I say, inadequacy. Confidence is a strange one. We give and take it away from ourselves. Certainly, other people can hurt us. Environments and events can make us feel unworthy. But essentially, only if we allow others and those environments and circumstances to affect us, we make that choice ourselves to take it away from ourselves. So really the only way to grow in confidence is to understand the self better, is to put ourselves in certain circumstances that we would otherwise be fearful of, and and really allow for that development. I think this person has grown a greater sense of right and wrong because of what they've been through. That's an achievement. I think this person has grown in terms of their capacity, their ability to learn in general. The angle of the thumb here is the same, but it's lower set on the right hand. This shows it's one of the signs of a humanitarian and a book lover. The lower angle on the right hand, the lower set thumb. I think this person has increased expanded their minds. Again, this is another achievement. This person has something of a battle within. The key to winning that battle against the self is by understanding the self, by loving the self, not by combating it with um, compensatory vices. This person has a desire to learn more about the world and the opportunities that it brings. But in some way, that's a reflection of what they need, and that is to learn more about themselves, to love the self by giving back. to others by showing your love for others in the way that you do, and that is through effort, through physical acts of love, um, showing up for people, making something for someone, spending time with them, working so that you can provide money to take them on a trip. These are ways in which um, the Traitor heart-lined people show their love. That's their love language. This is the best way to increase karma, but also to learn more about the self and to abstain and avoid alcohol, drugs, and womanizing. This person's theme, that wheel of fortune, is tipped by temptation. It spins because of those kind of knee-jerk desires and reactions. So long as this person sticks to the straight and narrow, this person will receive the most positive effects of the Wheel of Fortune. Happiness, a loving relationship is certainly on the cards for this person, so long as this person, um, you know, follows this advice. I hope that all makes sense. I'm sorry for waffling so much at the end of this reading. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on this reading, and perhaps you picked out something that I haven't mentioned. And also, if you would like to learn with me, please feel free to sign up for my level 2 membership. I am creating fortnightly assignments for people to learn palmistry in a growing community of learning emerging palmists. It's $4.99 a month. Please feel free to drop me an email if you've got any questions. And thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe.